Alright, here we have Linkin Park, New Divide. Of course, everyone remembers this from the Transformers 2 movie, but still one of their biggest hits. And a pretty basic song here, but there are some parts that kind of interlace with other parts and appear again in the song, but kind of change a little bit, so we'll get into some detail with that. And there's a break in the middle there, like an instrumental break, and it's real funky because it's all chopped up samples, but we'll see how closely we can get to that. And of course, there are just some straight up synth, sample parts here that I'll arrange for guitar. So if you want to play them that way, that's fine. But just to start it off here, it's kind of that instance where there isn't really a straight up guitar part going, but there are some basic chords just going on with the synth and the bass and all that stuff. So I'll show you the chords, and if you want to do the chords, that's cool. So just the intro there, it's going to start in F. The whole song's in key of F here, and it's just going to be a couple quick hits with the bass. So just like that. Okay, first measure. And then the next measure will kick up to a G sharp, and same thing, just a couple strums. Alright, and we're just going to keep these like a 5 chord, like a power chord. You don't really need to do the full chord. Okay, so we went to the G sharp. Alright, now we come up to D sharp, so 6 on the A, 8 and 8 on the D and G there. And then just end it all with a come up a set. It'll be 6 on the E, 8 and 8 on the A and D for the B flat. Alright. Alright, and like I said, there's that synth melody going on along with that. Probably the part that most people will recognize the song for. And we'll play it like this here. It's just a couple notes each measure. And we'll start it here at the 1st fret of the G, and then go to 3rd fret of the D. Just like that, pretty easy. Alright, and then we come up to 5 on the G to 3 on the D. 4 on the B to 3 on the G. And then just go right back to that 5 on the G, 3 on the D. And you put it all together. Alright, and if you're feeling really adventurous, you could combine both parts, the chord strum, bass hits, and that little synth melody. You'll just have to play it in slightly different positions here. So, it would start with those chord strums at the F on the 1st fret. Then you would just hit while having that bar, you would just hit the 1st on the G, and hit the 3 on the D. Okay, it's all kind of part of that F minor chord going on. And you bring it up to the G sharp, and here it will be a little funky. We're going to hit those bass notes, and hit 5 with that middle finger. Then you want to bring your pinky over and hit 8 on the A. To the D sharp, and this is easy. You just hit the 8 on the G and the 8 on the D after hitting the chord twice. Alright, and then come up to the 6 on the E, 8 on the A for the B flat. Hit that twice. And here pinky over and we hit the 10 on the D, and then hit the 8 on the A. It's a suspended 2 shape. Alright, and then just put it all together. Alright, and after the intro, everything just kind of comes in and you get that main riff, which is kind of the chorus pattern as well. And pretty basic through here. You can just start strumming the quarter notes on it. Okay, so just 8 strums each measure. And it's going to start at that F. We'll just keep it all 5 power chords here. So, and bring it up to the G sharp, D sharp, to B flat. You just repeat that twice. Okay, and these are the sections that kind of get pretty involved. It's like a second guitar that's in there, and it's not necessarily just going along with the the straight up chords. It's just doing these additional unison chords, I guess you call them, where he's just playing an octave of a note and just kind of changing positions with it. And here we're going to start it on the 8 of the A, 10 on the G. Okay, so we're just hitting that higher voicing F on like a unison chord here. Just hitting those 2 notes. Strumming it along, quarter notes also. And this will be 2 measures worth with this. Drops down 2 frets to the 6 and the 8. Just 1 measure. And then it comes up to 10. 10 on the A, 12 on the G. 1 measure. Alright, and when the verse comes in, this is another section where there isn't really any straight up guitar going on, but like I said, if you want to just strum the chords along with it, you can do that. It'd be perfectly fine, like if you want to do an acoustic version of this or whatever. So these are the chords involved. Same progression as we've been going through here, but it adds a little something at the end. So fully voiced here, it's just going to be a F minor chord. However you want to do it. And then it comes up to the G sharp major chord. Okay. Now we do the D sharp major. And then B flat major. Go through that progression 3 times, and then it goes into a new section here where we do a C sharp. Okay, so just 4th fret A, 6, 6, and 6 on the D, G, B. You want 2 measures worth of this. Alright, and then we just bring it to the B flat major again. Get 2 measures worth of that. Okay, so here's how that last progression going into that sounds. Right into the chorus. Alright, and now the chorus kicks in, And it's a lot of the same chords and similar progressions that we've been using, but it just kind of adds an extra measure of a certain chord and switches another one around. So we'll put it together here. It's just going to be the power chord strumming, quarter notes, okay? And it's going to start on the F, of course, so we're going to want to do 2 measures of this, okay? Okay, and then here it comes up to the D sharp, just 1 measure's worth. Okay, and then to the B flat for a measure. Let's try that again. Alright, and the second half of it, that's going to go back to that F, but just 1 measure for this. Up to the G sharp. And here, it's going to end on the D sharp for 2 measures. Alright, now I'll put the whole thing together. And the second half of the chorus here, it's basically just going to take it right back to that original progression that we do. Okay, where it's the F to the G sharp, D sharp, B flat. Okay, so just pretty much basically what the verse was doing. And then it'll go into the C sharp section. Right here, of course, it's going to change a little bit and just come up to the D sharp instead of that B flat. Okay, so we'll put that whole second half together here. Guitar 2 for the chorus. Okay, this is going to get a little involved here, a lot of different changing parts here. He's going to be up at the 8 and the 10 on the A and the G, of course, and 2 measures worth of that. Okay, and then I'll come up to 10 and 12. 1 measure. Back to 8 and 10 for 1 measure. Continuing on with the second guitar chorus part, be 8 and 10 for a measure. Into 6 and 8. Up to 10 and 12. And the last measure, it's going to be 11 and 13 for half of it, and then back to 10 and 12 for the last half of it. So put that all together. Alright, continuing on. Second guitar for the chorus be 8 and 10, 1 measure. 6 and 8. 10 and 12. Back to 8 and 10. Alright, and the final part of the chorus for guitar 2, this is where like that C sharp chord comes in. So pretty basic. It's just 2 spots that we're going to jump to. 2 measures each. It's going to start at 11 and 13 on the A and G. And then come up 2 frets. We go 13 and 15 on the A and G. 2 measures worth. And you can just end it on the 15 and 17. I think he just hits that once and it just kind of fades out. Okay. Alright, the interlude section, the instrumental interlude. There's a basic chord that's just getting hit probably from the second half of this on, and that's probably the more advised route to just take with this, because I'll show you here in a minute. I'll give you my best approximation of all the crazy sample chopping, electronic sounds that they're doing, and I don't know if you want to, you can try to reproduce it on the guitar, but for the most part you could probably just get away with hitting these like bass chords. Alright, and it's just going to be an F, but just like a specific strumming on it. Alright, it's just going to be a quick 1, 2, 3. And then rest for a moment. Then hit 1. Rest again. Then hit 2. Rest. And then hit 1 more to end it. Okay. Really specific strumming pattern, so. Alright, and now I'll give you my best approximation of what the crazy electronic chopped up samples are doing here. To me, it sounds like it's doing this. Okay, we do 6 on the high E, and then bend 3 on the G, bend it and just cut it. Okay. Alright, then we come over here, we do 1, 1 on the A, to 1 on the D, back to 1 on the A. Okay, and just try to keep it all choppy and robotic sounding, And then slide up to 6 on the A and slide it out. Just like that. Slide it up, hit it once, slide it back out. Alright, and then just end it with a couple 4s on the E and slide that out. Okay. Really funky. This is my best approximation here. Something like that. Alright, and then there's, I guess you could call it a bridge section right after that interlude. The vocal is kind of doing something new. Musically, it's really similar to parts of the chorus, so you'll probably recognize a lot of this. Yeah, just going to start on the F, 1 measure's worth, okay, to the G sharp, okay, and come up to the D sharp for 2 measures. Okay, so it's just going to be F for 1 measure, G sharp for 1 measure, D sharp 1 measure, B flat 1 measure. Okay, repeat that twice. And then it'll jump right into the C sharp. That's 2 measures. To D sharp for 2 measures. Okay, second guitar for that bridge part. Really similar to like the chorus part, stuff we've already done. Okay, so just be 8 and 10 on the A and G for 2 measures. 6 and 8 for 1 measure. 10 and 12 for 1 measure. Alright, in the second half of the guitar 2 for the bridge, kind of does something new here. We're going to go split it up. You know, we're doing 2 spots per measure now. It's kind of a escalation going on here. Okay, but it's going to be 8 and 10 on the A and G. Okay, just for half the measure, and then we come up 10 and 12 to finish that measure. Okay, and we do 11 and 13. Half a measure, and then just end it with the 13 and 15 for the rest of that measure. Okay, so basically just 4 strums each on each spot. Alright, then the outro chorus, exactly like previous choruses here. Okay, we're just going to start at the F, G sharp, D sharp, B flat, and right into that C sharp to D sharp. Alright, and towards the end there where it just drops out and there's just the vocal with that guitar 2. Guitar 2, it's doing a similar part here. We're doing 8 and 10 for 2 measures. Okay, 10 and 12 for a measure. Back to 8 and 10 for a measure. Alright, second half of that vocal break for guitar 2. Okay, 8 and 10. Okay, to 6 and 8. 10 and 12. Then we do the 11 and 13 for half a measure, 10 and 12 for the last half of the measure. Alright, that was Linkin Park, New Divide. A lot of interchanging parts in there. Kind of tricky because some of them look just like other parts, but they're slightly different and played in different spots. So kind of a fun interchangeable exercise, especially with the second guitar part. And then of course you got that funky break in the middle where you can try to interpolate what all the electronic stuff's doing, so that's cool. Anyway, I hope you had fun watching this and hopefully learned something with it. I'd love a subscription from you. That'd be helping me out a lot. Check out the description box for links to tab books and all the gear I use. Alright, till next time, Autobots transform and roll out. We'll see ya.